We often hear people wishing us a long, happy, and healthy life. But what if the length isn't what matters most? What if instead it's the breadth, depth, and purpose of each day that matters most? Welcome to the Live the Width of Your Life podcast. My name is Aneta Ardelian Kuzma, and join me weekly as I interview guests who made changes in their own lives to live more fully with intention, gratitude, and joy. Be prepared to be inspired by their stories of how they shifted their mindset, took courageous action, and designed the life that they always wanted to live. Today's guest is Sam Bilby. Sam is a body positive personal trainer who helps women feel their best without dieting. She is the owner of Bloom Flourish Fitness, where she provides 15-minute at-home workouts for busy women. She is a self-proclaimed Disney addict and has recently moved from New Jersey to Florida with her husband and 2 cats to be closer to Mickey Mouse. Her ultimate goal is to help women feel amazing in their skin and have confidence to live a life wilder than their wildest dreams. Welcome, Sam. Hi, Sam. Thank you so much for joining today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's so nice to have you on the show. I feel like I see you more often just being part of your BFF community. So it's so nice to be able to have you on the podcast as well.
Yes, same here. And I feel like I hear you all the time with your meditations I do each morning. So it's same here.
Oh, awesome. Well, I am grateful to have you here because I admire your story so much. There's a couple of big things that you did recently. First, your move to Florida with your husband, then also the starting of your business. And I would love for you to just give everyone a little bit of a background about you, what you're willing to share today for people that may not know you.
All right. So I'll try to keep it short and simple. But as we know, our lives are not short and simple. So I recently, about a year and a half ago, moved to Florida from New Jersey with my husband and our 2 cats. It's something that we've been wanting to do for so long, and we finally just made it happen. I am a body positive personal trainer. So I am the owner of Bloom Flourish Fitness. It's an online fitness community where we do 15-minute at home workouts. And it was a long journey to get to where I am now. I have been in the fitness world for like 10 years. I loved lifting weights. It made me feel so strong. But like most of us, when you go to the gym, you start having body goals. You could start to get into these negative habits like chronic yo-yo dieting, deprivation, binge restricting. And so I kind of fell out of love with the gym at a certain point in my life. And I was like, well, I'm just done. I'm not dieting anymore. This isn't healthy for me. But then I also lost my love for fitness and working out. And the one of the biggest things about working out is it's way more than just calories burned or muscles gained. It's good for your mental health. It's self-care. And so I wanted to get back into finding a love for working out, but in a way that was a little bit more healthy for my mind. So I started to work out for all the other reasons that I like to work out, not just a number on the scale. And then eventually I was like, I want to help other women do the same thing. So I got my certification for personal training, and I decided to start BFF or Bloom Flourish Fitness for busy women who want to get their workout in, but their whole life is no longer surrounded by being in the gym for 2 hours and meal planning for 2 hours a day. Like people who are living life and who want to love their body healthy rather than hate their body skinny.
Oh my God, I love that so much. And so tell me what your definition of body positivity is. So when you say that's a strong mission and focus for you, how do you define that?
So there's so many different ways to describe it. So there's the body positive movement is pretty big, and body positivity for me means loving our body and saying things to our body and about our body in the same way that we would to someone we love. Like
Mm.
picturing a child. If a child was to come to you and say, "Oh my gosh, I hate my body," you would be heartbroken, and because they're not seeing what you're seeing. And same goes for us. We have to treat our body in a loving way. Now that doesn't mean I am self-proclaimed anti-diet, but that doesn't mean that I'm anti-health. We have to
Mhm.
take care of our one and only body that takes us through this life. But restrictive and yo-yo dieting isn't the healthy way to do that.
Yeah. So tell me the difference between focusing in on dieting and then focusing in on something, a term I hear often called intuitive eating, or maybe just focusing in on health, like you said. What do you think the biggest differences are?
So a diet, it's kind of hard because the word diet really just means the foods that we eat on a regular basis. So
Mm,
whether you're eating donuts for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or kale for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, both of that is a diet of some sort. But the
mhm,
diets that one thing is a lot of people who are providing diets for other people aren't even qualified to do so. And it's like giving a prescription without being a doctor. And these diets are other people telling us how to eat, and a lot of the times it's restrictive, and a lot of the times it just goes against, well, all the time it goes against everything, like taking out a whole certain food group even if you don't have intolerances to it, and having such restriction that our body starts to, our metabolism slows down, and it's just so out of whack. So intuitive eating is definitely a there's a book called Intuitive Eating that I've read many years ago, and it's an actual formula. Well, not really a formula, but there's steps to it. There's like getting rid of the guilt and gentle nutrition. So
mhm.
that's one way of eating. But really, I believe that eating before diets were even a thing was just called eating. We just ate. We ate what was around. We ate what was in season. We
Right.
ate what we could afford. And
Mhm.
like kids, they eat when they're hungry, they stop when they're full. Maybe they go a little bit overboard, but they choose what they like to eat. I see all the time in my niece, we'll give her an option of having ice cream or strawberries. Some days she'll choose ice cream, other days she'll choose strawberries because she
Mhm.
doesn't know the difference that one is, quote unquote good and the other is bad. So eating intuitively is just getting back to eating, period.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's a great explanation. And for those that maybe aren't familiar with BFF, can you share with us, like, what does the community look like? What are the different components of being part of the BFF community?
So the BFF community is our foundation is 15-minute workouts. So we have a private Facebook community where we get to connect, support each other, cheer each other on, share our hard times, because really it's mostly about the community. And every day I post a 15-minute workout, brand new. We work different muscle groups: shoulders, back and biceps, chest, triceps. We like to do a little glute workout every week.
Yep.
And we also do some fun workouts every Friday. We do Flashback Friday, which is to some really fun music. And we get to just be a little silly, move our body in a different and fun way, because the best workout is the one that you enjoy. So if you're not having fun, if you're getting tired of it, if it's the same thing day in and day out, you're less likely to stay consistent. And consistency is the key, which is why we do 15-minute workouts. It's easy to get in a 15-minute workout rather than having to go to the gym for an hour workout, get daycare for the kids, pack your bag, and sit in traffic.
Oh my gosh. I am part of your community and I appreciate the workouts. What I love is that every day you're doing something a little bit different. There's structure around what to expect. We know Wednesdays are hump days, so it's going to be
Mhm.
my little booty and my, thighs and all that,
Yeah.
which is wonderful, but a lot of times the music is different and the exercises are different, or maybe you're putting them together. So it never feels like it's monotonous.
Mhm.
I have the expectation of what to expect that day in terms of maybe my body parts, but also know that the workout is going to be different. But I love that you have this repository. So if I really am feeling shoulders or want to do something else, I know where I can go and access it. And I love that even though I get up at 4:30 in the morning, the workout's there because you already recorded it the day before. So thank you for putting all of that time and effort and being so thoughtful with the workouts.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I really wanted to make sure that it was available for the early risers because honestly, many of the women who do the workouts are getting them done before I even wake up in the morning. So I definitely have to make sure they are posted for the people who want to wake up at 2 a.m. for some reason and get their workout in.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the other thing that you did. So you originally lived, I think, you last lived in New Jersey before you moved to Florida. So tell us about the story of how you and your husband decided that you were going to move down to Florida.
So my family and we are Disney addicts. So we have been going to Disney since as long as I can remember, multiple times a year. And we were we were living in New York. I was born in New York, so we would
Mhm.
drive down from New York and go to Florida and go to Disney. I have a lot of siblings, so a lot of the times we didn't stay on property. We stayed outside of property, crammed like six of us into a four-person room, packed lunches. But we
Yeah.
always made it a habit to go to Disney, and it was just where I always felt so alive, really.
Mhm.
So growing up, I always wanted to live as close to Disney as possible, but I really was like, "Oh, is that even possible? Like, do people really move to be close to a theme park?" But also, it's sunshine. There's palm trees. Like, it's just a whole different vibe.
Mhm.
So when I started dating my husband 14 years ago, he had never been on vacation. So about 3 months into us dating, my mom invited him to go to Disney with us, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So he came to Disney, took his first ever vacation with us, fell in love with it. And for years, we'd talk about moving here, but it just wasn't practical. Our families were in Jersey. At that time, I had moved to Jersey, which is where I met
Mhm.
him. And our families were there, and it's everything that we knew. And then a year and a half ago, it was, we had a lot of the shutdowns. So, and it was cold and it was winter. And we were just like, do we want to live in winter? Like, is this really what we want to do? So we decided to just go for it. And we did. And we originally had planned to move in May, but it was winter. And we said, you know what? We're moving in March because we can't stand another 2 months here. Because in Jersey, it doesn't get warm till like June.
Oh my gosh, I know Cleveland's the same way. I admire your ability to just at a young age say, you know what, this isn't working. We're going to move because you said you are close to your family. So how did the family take the news that you guys were planning to move?
So we had told my whole family, and my dad had always said that he wanted to be a snowbird. He wanted to come down here for the winters and go back north for this
Hmm.
winter summers. And so he was like, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity for me to try that because you guys will be down there. So he ended up moving first, actually, for
Oh,
seasonal. And then once his lease came up, he was like, nope, I'm doing this full time. Then my my sister moved down. Then my other sister moved down. My biggest concern was my grandparents because they had moved from New York to New Jersey to be closer to us.
hmm.
And they used to always say, I'll never move to Florida. I'll never move to Florida. So my grandpa used to always say, well, it's going to be underwater someday. And I was like, okay. We grew up in Long Island. I was like, you could say the same thing for Long Island. Um, but then, so we told them, even though we were so afraid, we hid it from them, even when we already had the apartment.
Hmm.
And we told them, and they moved down so quickly after we moved down because they were like, you know what? We don't like winter either. Let's go. And
Oh,
now my whole family's down here.
that's fantastic. So, how soon after you and your husband moved did the rest of the family move down?
Um, Within, I think, 7 months, everyone was down here.
Oh my goodness. Well, that
Yeah.
was a catalyst for change. And so, when you sometimes we think that making a move like that seems really hard. So, were there things that you thought would be roadblocks or things you were worried about doing, and then how did you overcome them?
So I really the hardest part for me was thinking about leaving the family and like telling, Sean's family is still up north. And but other than that, it's just those little hassles like changing your address, changing over um the electric. Like, but I've moved
Yeah,
so many times growing up within like the states that I grew up in that I was like, this is no different than everything
yeah,
else. So just the little logistics.
yeah. That's good. So once you decide to do it, you kind of figure the rest out.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So when you started BFF, did you start that business, and was that something you were doing full time, or did you do something else at the same time?
So I started BFF 3 years ago this month. And at the time, I was working with my dad. So I went to school for math. I went to college for math. I have a math degree. And during that time is when I found out my love for fitness. But also during that time, because my schedule was all over the map, I started working for my dad because it was something that I was able to do from my computer. So he has his own
Mhm.
business in real estate tax servicing. So I started working from my laptop to just make a couple dollars while I was on campus. And then I realized I kind of like this idea of working from my laptop. So
Yeah.
I graduated college and automatically just went full time working with him, became part owner. So for about 10 years, I was his partner and we worked alongside each other. And a couple months ago, just about 6 months ago or so, is when I finally put in my notice to my resignation, basically. And it was so hard, but I knew I wanted to do
Mm,
fitness full time. It wasn't my passion, it was just convenient. And I liked working with my dad, but I was ready to make it be mine and my dad's relationship like more family and less business.
yeah. So, how did he take it? Was he surprised?
He wasn't surprised at all. He just thought he had a little bit more time, but he took it way better than I thought. I was for years I would think about it and just feel so sad, like I can't possibly do that to him. But it actually came at a really great time in the business. Um, it just was perfect timing, as usual.
Right. Oh my gosh. So, did you have any fears or worries, or how was your mindset about making the leap to go from something that seemed very certain to starting going into your business full time, which could be a little bit more uncertain?
Yeah, it really is. It was scary, and it's still kind of scary. I'm still in the baby phases, so I'm working through it. But actually, it's so freeing and so fun.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? What about it seems so freeing to you?
Sorry about that.
Oh, no
um,
worries.
um, the fact that I can make my own schedule, that I can do what I love, and
Mhm.
just help so many women. It's so much fun.
So, Sam, what I found for myself is that when I finally made the decision to go all in, um, things that I worried about weren't really the things that I had to worry about. I had these fears about what ifs, and none of them actually happened. And when I finally was able to create that freedom, like you said, the freedom, new opportunities would present themselves. Did have you found that since you went all in on BFF, have you seen your business grow? Have you seen an increase in memberships? Like, did you suddenly start to see some blessings that you didn't expect to see so quickly?
Oh yeah, that just reminded me of one of my favorite quotes. I forget who said it, but it's like, "What if I fall?" And it's like, "But what if you fly?"
Yes.
And so oftentimes, the what if is like, "Oh no, we overthink it."
Yeah.
But I've been able to put so much more into my business, so much more energy now that I have the free time that
Hmm.
it has grown. We've grown about 15 members this year in the past several months, whereas in the past it would have taken me like a whole year, maybe 2 years to get that many members. Um,
Wow.
so we're a small group. I'm a small business, but the growth has definitely been better since I've been able to do it full time and put all of my energy into it.
Oh my God, congratulations. I know
Thank
that's
you.
fantastic. The other thing that I love is you've got such a great presence. I follow you on Instagram and I love the way you always share like your life. So there's some personal things that you're doing, kind of see what you're doing during the day. I know that you focus in on your self care, many different things. You seem to be enjoying yourself and enjoying the Florida space there with your husband. Is it easy for you to sort of share all of yourself on social media, this integrated life, or was that something you had to work towards as well?
It's definitely something I've had to work towards because we are told in the business world to really niche down or niche down and
Yeah,
don't confuse your audience, but really all of that is part of me. My self-care, Florida
yeah.
living, BFF, and I like to share it all. So really when I don't overthink it, it's easy for me to share everything about me and not feel
Hmm.
like, "Oh, you shouldn't be sharing that."
Yeah. And for me, I love it because I feel like I'm there with you. I get to know you a little bit better, which is fantastic. And in spirit of the body positivity, it's nice to see you taking care of yourself, working out, talking about that, but then also sharing the nice meals that you're enjoying, that you're really are preparing and enjoying, or maybe going out and enjoying. So, just a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a
You're
I'm a
welcome.
foodie, so I love eating.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your self care because I know that you spend a lot of time in reflection and you're very thoughtful about that. So, what does your routine look like?
So, my routine, I really realized that I am not the best with really structure, like doing the
Mhm.
same thing day in and day out. But what I do love is having a very slow morning with coffee and some meditation, thanks to you, journaling, getting a walk in, and really having a slow morning. And then now, since my schedule is so different, it's just really whatever I feel called to do throughout the day, I do it. And it's so much fun.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I also love morning walks. So, can you talk about some of the benefits you know from a walking perspective, but also what does it mean to you to be able to be outside in the sun and going for a walk?
So, the benefits of sunshine and just going out for a walk, I think if someone asked me what the most beneficial workout you can do, it's definitely a walk. And it's
Mm,
even better when it's outside and not just on a treadmill because you got that sunshine, you're in nature, which there's so many benefits to that. It's great for your mind, it's great for your body, it's great to get vitamin D, and it's also a way to be a little bit social, meet your neighbors, and all of that is so good for our health. And it's one of the pillars for people who live the longest, like the people in the blue zones who live well into
yeah.
their hundreds. They walk. They walk everywhere, and it's something that I think we all should be doing more of.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. And I just notice such a positive mental health benefit when I walk versus when I don't. I just feel better. And being outside in the sunshine is, I mean, you get the benefit because you're in Florida. So you get it much
Yeah.
more than I do, but I definitely do savor it here. So tell me what's next for you. What other dreams do you have, personal, business wise? What do you want to put out there in the universe that you're working on?
So I'm dabbling, I'm calling it, and helping other people live their dream life because
Mhm.
one thing that people have been telling me ever since that I've moved to Florida, they're like, wow, I can't believe you just went for it. I can't believe you're living your dream. Like
Yeah.
people who've known me for a long time are like, you talked about this for so many years and it's really cool to see that you're doing it.
Yep.
So I have been loving to use my imagination and my creativity to help other women and other people realize that their dreams are possible, and sometimes all it takes is taking that first step. So that's something that I am also doing alongside my fitness coaching.
Oh my gosh, I love it. You're right. It's sometimes you just take that first step, even if you don't know the entire staircase, like what's waiting. Being able to take a couple of
Mhm.
steps in front towards your goal is perfect. So, what would you tell your younger self? Are there things that you've learned now that you wish that you'd known when you were younger?
So I am fairly young, but there's still definitely something that I would tell my younger self without a doubt is to not worry so much about what other people are thinking
Hmm.
and care more about what I think about myself than what other people might think of me, because half the time they aren't thinking the things that we think they're thinking of us.
Right. People are so busy worrying about their own stuff. They're rarely thinking about us. And maybe the ones that, have something to say aren't necessarily the ones that we should be worried about as much,
Yeah,
too. I found that.
exactly.
So I want to thank you for joining me today. And I do have a final question. So
Mhm.
the title of this podcast is Live the Width of Your Life. And that's from a Diane Ackerman quote. So, what does living the width of your life mean to you?
So for me, it definitely means actually living. So I think a lot of us we are alive, but we're not living. We're just going through the motions, working the 9 to 5, taking one vacation a year. And really, um, the point of life is to be alive and to live it. So, living the width of our life is making those memories, having those experiences, doing what we love, and being lit up and alive and not just existing.
I love that. I love that so much. And I see that in you, Sam. So I'm so
Thank
grateful that you're able to share your story with us. And I want you to tell us how we can best support you. If someone wants to join BFF or if they want to follow you, tell us the best ways that we can support you.
So you can find me. The website is bloomflourishfitness.com. That's where you can read about the community and join. I'm also on Instagram at Samantha Bilby for my personal page. and at Bloom Flourish Fitness to find all things about BFF.
I will be sure to include all of that in the show notes. And if you're listening or watching this podcast, please be sure to like it. If it's something you enjoyed, share it with as many friends that you think will find the story inspirational, and subscribe to be notified every time there is a new episode. Thank you, Sam, so much for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Awesome. Have an amazing day.
You too.